Hey guys, I'm David Halick, and my group is going to talk about the author of the book The Chronicles of Narnia, C.S Lewis. We're also going to give a superficial explanation about his other works, which he made during his lifetime, as well as curious facts about him and his great achievements. So, I'll start talking about his life. C.S. Lewis, or Jack Lewis as preferred to be called, was born in Belfast, Ireland, now Northern Ireland, on November 29, 1898. He was the second son of Albert Lewis, a lawyer, and Flora Hamilton Lewis. His older brother, who was known as Warnie, had been born 3 years earlier in 1895.
Lewis' early childhood was relatively happy and carefree. In those days, Northern Ireland was not plagued by bitter silver strike, and the Lewis were comfortably off. The family home, called Little Leah, was a large, gabled house with dark, narrow passages and an overgrown garden, which Warnie and Jack played in and explored together. There was also a library that was crammed with books. Two of Jack's favorites were Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson and The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett.
This somewhat idyllic boyhood came to an end for Lewis when his mother became ill and died of cancer in 1908. Barely a month after her death, the two boys were sent away from home to go to boarding school in England. Lewis hated the school with its strict rules and a sympathetic headmaster, and he missed Belfast terribly. Fortunately for him, the school closed in 1910 and he was able to return to Ireland. After a year, however, he was sent back to England to study. This time, the experience proved to be mostly positive. As a teenager, Lewis learned to love poetry, especially the works of Virgil and Homer. He also developed an interest in modern language, mastering French, German, and Italian.
In 1916, Lewis was accepted at University College, the oldest college at Oxford University. Oxford, along with Cambridge University, had been a leading center of learning since the Middle Ages. Soon after he entered the university, however, Lewis chose to volunteer for active duty in the First World War, to serve in the British Army, then fighting in the muddy trenches of the Northern Front. Following the end of the war in 1918, Lewis returned to Oxford, where he took up his studies again with great enthusiasm. In 1925, after graduation with third-class honors in Greek and Latin literature, philosophy and ancient story, and English literature, Lewis was elected to an important teaching post in English at Magdalen College, Oxford. He remained at Oxford for 29 years before becoming a professor of medieval and Renaissance literature at Magdalen College, Cambridge in 1955.
In addition to his teaching duties at the university, Lewis began to publish books. His first major work, The Pilgrim's Progress, was about his own spiritual journey to Christian faith. Other works followed that won him acclaim not only as a writer of books on religious subjects, but also as a writer of academic works and popular novels. The Allegory of Love, which is still considered a masterpiece today, was a story of love literature from the Middle Ages to Shakespeare's time. Out of the Silent Planet was the first of a trilogy of science fiction novels, the hero of which is loosely modeled on Lewis' friend J.R.R. Tolkien, author of the children's classic The Hobbit.
Initially, when Lewis turned to writing children's books, his publisher and some of his friends tried to dissuade him. They thought it would hurt his reputation as writer of serious works. J.R.R. Tolkien, in particular, criticized Lewis' first Narnia's book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He thought that there were too many elements that clashed: a father Christmas and an evil witch, talking animals and children. Thankfully, Lewis didn't listen to any of them. Following the publication of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 1950, Lewis quickly wrote 6 more Narnia books, publishing the final one, The Last Battle, in 1956. Although they were not well received at first by critics and reviews, the books gained in popularity through word of mouth. The Narnia books have since more than 100 million copies and are among the most beloved books of classic children's literature.
After finishing the Narnia series, Lewis continued to write on autobiographical and religious subjects, but less prolifically. Mainly, he was preoccupied with the health crisis of his wife, João, whom he married in 1956 and who died of cancer in 1960. After her death, Lewis' own health deteriorated, and in the summer of 1963, he resigned his post at Cambridge. His death, which occurred on November 22, 1963, the same day President Kennedy was assassinated, was only quietly noted. He is remembered, however, by readers all over the world, whom he has delighted and inspired for generations.
Lewis was born in Northern Ireland on the Outer Skills of Belfast and was strongly engaged with Hamlet through his life. He took English and literature at the Magdalen College, Oxford, and some of Lewis' best books are books of literature of criticism. Lewis was a great scholar. His academic books are still reading Oxford and Cambridge. They are difficult, with sophisticated arguments, unfreezing parts of Greek, Latin, of Old English, and medieval Nordic, among many others.
Lewis had a high laughter, and he had many friends. He was a hateful man with a great sense of humor. Most of them, Lewis wrote, was in response to requests, suggestion, or incentive of somebody. Lewis wanted to be counted as a great poet, and he made an effort a lot to write and redraft their poems.
Number 1 is the best known work of Lewis, being the series considered classic of the literature, having sold more than 120 million books worldwide. Number 2, written by Lewis between 1949 and 1954. The Chronicles of Narnia were adapted several times, entirely or partly to radio, television, theater, and cinema. In addition to traditional Christian themes, the series uses elements of Greek and Norse mythology, as well in traditional fairy tales. Number 3. The Chronicles of Narnia usually feature the adventures of children who play a central role and discover the fictional kingdom of Narnia, a place where magic is commonplace, animals speak, and the battles between good and evil. In all books except for The Horse and His Boy, the main characters are children of our world who are magically transported to Narnia in order to be aided and instructed by the great lion, now as Aslan. Number 4. All 7 volumes of the Chronicles of Narnia were written between 1949 and 1954, and were originally published in the United Kingdom by HarperCollins between 1915 and 1956.
Lewis has several times adapted events of his life in the series stars. 7. The origin of the name Narnia is uncertain, since even C.S. Lewis himself gave information about the source of inspiration that led him to create such a name. A film version of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, produced by Walden Media and distributed by Walt Disney Pictures, was released in December 2005. The film won a lot of fans, noting the literary series that was almost unknown in some cultures as in Brazil.
Hi guys, my name is Mary and I am here to talk about other books that
C.S Lewis wrote. Number 1. They won the 7 planets. Number 2. Pure Lander. Number 3. An extra force. Number 4. The four laws. Number 5. The evolution of man. Number 6. And letters from a devil to his apprentice.
At the end of this work, we learned that C.S. Lewis was an author who made many important works, such as the Chronicles of Narnia and etc. If he was alive today, he would make lots of other amazing works. Unfortunately, he died in the same day President Kennedy was killed, and because of that, Lewis' death was only quietly noted. His death could not be noted, but his works are, of course, noted and remembered all over the world.
Então eu tô lendo a primeira vez agora. Eu tô lendo